ESPN, celebrating our 10th season as your home for Major League Baseball.
September has been the worst of times for the Angels. 3 times in the last 4 years, a late collapse cost them a title. The team needed a change. But on opening night, September nightmares resurfaced. With Vaughn disabled, the rest of the Angels must bear the burden of turning past failures into distant memories. In 1998, it was the powerful Rangers who won the West. Now, a familiar face has come home to Arlington, enhancing one of the game's most feared lineups. The Rangers have dreams of baseball deep into October. 2 of baseball's most potent attacks in an early season showdown, knowing that this is just the start of a long, fierce battle. Tonight, Sunday Night Baseball from Arlington, Texas. The Angels and the Rangers, perhaps the top 2 contenders for the American League Western Division title. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller, and welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. We're back in the USA, and tonight the Rangers hurting for a win. They've been clobbered a couple of nights in a row here by the visiting Angels. And, of course, when you think of the Rangers and offense, you think of Juan Gonzalez and his big bat. Juan Gonzalez, the great slugger. Talked with Joe Morgan before the game.
Juan, last year you guys won the division, but you came up a little short. You've got Rafael Palmeiro hitting behind you. What does that mean to you this year?
Well, this year, you know, the first thing is staying hurt to everybody and continue playing together. Great chemistry inside the team, and you know, Rafi behind me is great because you know, Rafi is one of the best left-hander hitter in baseball, and I have more protection behind me.
Say something in Spanish to all the people that are watching.
Para la gente que están viendo ESPN esta noche, especialmente mi familia, mi esposa y mi hija, y toda mi gente en Alto de Cuba, pues saludo desde Arlington y para adelante, con Dios siempre.
And he said, good luck to everybody.
Good luck to everybody.
That's not what he said. You're no Alvaro Martin. We needed Alvaro there. It was very nice. Now, Juan Gonzalez, I mean, this guy's a run producer. And when you think of Gonzalez, you think of RBIs.
And, John, you know, the other thing, most people don't even think about it. He's won 2 of the last 3 American League Most Valuable Player awards. This guy is a great player, and he doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Maybe we'll give him some tonight. But the real key to Texas is their consistent pitching. They have not had any consistent pitching. Aaron Sele has been the only guy that has been consistent. His first game this year, he pitched 7 shutout innings. They're looking for more of that tonight. You can't outscore these teams anymore. You better have some pitching.
All right, Tim Belcher will go for the Anaheim Angels. They're trying to make it 3 straight here in Texas in this early season showdown. Belcher versus Aaron Sele. And sluggers plenty on both sides, even though Mo Vaughn is out of the lineup. Stay tuned.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Gum Out. Drive your fuel system clean with a complete line of Gum Out Performance Fuel Additives. And in part by Turtle Wax, the world's leader in car care. And by 1010-9000, America's directory assistants.
That is the ballpark in Arlington from up above. Sunday Night Baseball back for our 10th season. Every Sunday, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. Here you'll find us with a ball game. Tonight, Terry Collins and his Anaheim Angels, who are trying to make do for a while without the likes of Jim Edmonds, their slugging center fielder, and of course their big new superstar, Mo Vaughn, who hurt himself in the first inning of his first game with the Angels. Well, here's the Angels' Pepsi starting lineup for tonight. Orlando Palmeiro is in left field. Randy Velarde at second base. Darren Erstad back at first base, hitting third. Tim Salmon, healthy again in right field, batting cleanup. Has always hit well against Texas and has the best career batting average in the history of this ballpark. Garrett Anderson in center. Troy Glaus, third base. Chris Pritchett, the designated hitters. It is Walbeck, the catcher, and Andy Sheets is at shortstop. Has several familiar names missing from that lineup. And there is the 28-year-old right-hander, a 19-game winner a year ago, Aaron Sele.
And John Aaron pitched very well in his first outing this year. And the key, even though he has a great curveball, the key to his ball game tonight will be his fastball and being able to spot it and get ahead of the hitters so that he can get them to chase the breaking ball out of the strike zone. But he has a great curveball. And let's take a look at the defense behind Sele. And let's start with his battery mate, Ivan Rodriguez. He has 7 Gold Gloves he has won, closing in on the record that Johnny Bench has of 10. Johnny Bench had 10 Gold Gloves, and he now has 7, which ties him with Bob Boone.
And he is also wearing mask cam tonight, for which we are very grateful. Here's Orlando Palmeiro, and we are underway. 0-1 the count. So many injury problems for the Angels. 9 men on the disabled list. And that's too high. 1 ball and 1 strike. They're without their center fielder Edmonds, their first baseman Mo Vaughn. They're without their shortstop Gary D. Sarcina. Justin Bachman, they were hoping would be their second baseman. Nice pickup at third by Zeal. 1 away.
Well, Todd Zeal has always been able to catch most of the balls he can get to. This ball is smashed inside the bag. 1 step and a dive. That's a typical play for a third baseman, but not always made properly. A nice play, and he always has had a strong arm. He used to be a catcher, so he gets up and fires a strike to first base.
So Todd Zeal getting it done, and now Randy Velarde comes up. Former Yankee. Fine fastball back to the screen. He's not a real hard thrower, but he's got that great curveball.
And when you have a curveball that's as good as his, it's a lot of times a hitter will wait just a fraction longer to recognize it, and then the fastball gets on him.
Well, he was late on that fastball as well, and again, as you see, 88 miles an hour, not 95.
No, just a little above average. So the threat of the curveball always in the back of these, especially right-handed hitters' minds.
I mean, it's such a good curve, hitters fear it. So it's got to be in the back of your mind.
There it is.
Well, that's why. Man, that was nasty.
Not only was it real nasty, John, the location was great. I mean, this pitch starts the middle of the plate. Watch where it starts. Starts in the middle of the plate and just dives to the outside corner. Look at that. Perfectly placed by Sele. Here, take a look at mass cam. Look, that starts. It's in the middle of the plate now. All of a sudden, it's down and away. You can't handle that.
2 down, nobody on. Darren Erstad up now. Aaron Sele, really, as a kid, was taught the mechanics of pitching by his dad, Galen. His dad must have known a little something about pitching. He's always had excellent mechanics. He started throwing the curveball when he was a teenager. And he's kind of mystified as to why it's so good himself. He says, hey, it always just had a natural drop to it. Too tight to Erstad. No swings, says Jim Evans on the appeal. And the count, 1 ball, 1 strike. Tim Salmon would be next. And that's low and in. Sele out of Washington State University. And he was there while John Olerud was there. And Olerud worked with him a little bit, helped him perfect his mechanics, the mechanics of pitching, because Olerud himself was an outstanding intercollegiate pitcher. A little sinking action running away from Erstad. 3-1 the count.
Interesting what he's done here to Erstad. He started off with a fastball, then he tried to throw not his overhand curveball. He threw more of a half curve like a slider. He doesn't come right over the top like he does with against the right-handed hitters.
3-1. And a walk for Erstad, and that keeps the inning going for Tim Salmon. And it was painful. I used to stay up late sometime, Joe, and watch you do those games from Anaheim on Wednesday Night Baseball. And it was painful to watch Salmon last year. He had that foot problem, and every time he took a step, it was like jamming a knife into his foot, and yet he continued to play. This year he is fully healthy And they are looking for some real big things from Tim Salmon. He's off to an excellent start. He's got 2 home runs already. And this is his favorite ballpark. He's got the highest average in the history of this ballpark of any player, home or visitor. Ball 1. The ballpark in Arlington. This is a Texas-sized ballpark. It's big. Very visually stimulating ballpark. Good hitter's ballpark. The infield is very, very fast. And the ball usually carries very well here. It's an unusual night, though. Nice pickup there by Rodriguez, holding Erstad at first. Usually, Joe, there's a stiff wind blowing in across the prairie, right in from right field. But tonight, very little wind at all, at least at the moment.
When I talked to Gonzalez today, he basically said that this ballpark hurts him, though. He said the ball doesn't carry well here all the time, and it's very deep in left center.
Off the fists. Todd Zeal will go to second. McLemore covering for the force out of Erstad. No runs. We go to the last of the first. Texas coming up. The ballpark in Arlington. Sunday Night Baseball. Johnny Oates, former catcher, the manager of the Rangers, and he is inspecting mass cam. Wants to know how it works. How do they get that in there? How much does that weigh? Does that get in the way? Can you zoom in on that? What kind of a zoom is it? Can you shoot in low light? Could I take this home? Maybe take some videos of my kids? Here's Johnny Oates, Texas Rangers batting. Over the Pepsi starting lineup for Texas. Tom Goodwin in center. Mark McLemore in second. Rusty Greer, little heralded but very effective. He's averaged 98 RBIs a year the last 3 seasons. Plus he gets on base all the time. Creates a lot of RBI opportunities for Juan Gonzalez. Rafael Palmeiro back home in Texas to DH. Ivan Rodriguez, the catcher. Todd Zeal at third. Lee Stevens at first. John Shave in place of the injured Royce Clayton at short. And on the mound for the Angels, the veteran 37-year-old Tim Belcher.
And John, Tim Belcher is a very good acquisition, I think, for the Angels.
Still throws pretty hard. And there's ball 1.
Still throws in the 90s. Throws a lot of high fastballs, though. He gets you out. He gets ahead of you in the strike. He gets ahead of you, 2 strikes, and he'll throw the high fastball.
That's a strike over the outside.
But that's also the reason that he gave up 37 home runs last year, which led the American League, simply because if you stay up in the strike zone, you make a mistake up there, they'll hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Down the left field line, Orlando Palmeiro watches it drop back in amongst the spectators. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Goodwin.
When he first came to the big leagues, he was actually in the Yankees organization, and the Oakland A's drafted him from there, and then he ended up with the Dodgers. He was always a good high fastball pitcher. I mean, he really had some pop on his fastball when he first came up, and he pitched up in the strike zone.
That was is that a change-up or a splitter or what?
It looked like a splitter.
I mean, it not only was dropping down, but it was moving away from the left-handed swing. Tough pitch. 2-2 to Goodwin. Fastball off the outside. 3-2 now.
The one thing about Belcher, he's always given you innings. He's given his teams innings. He will pitch. He will take the ball, and he loves to pitch. He stays out there a long time.
Among the league leaders in that category last year. Right center field. There's nobody there. And Goodwin has an explosive speed. He's on the run. Second. Heading for third. And he'll pull up there with a stand-up triple.
Johnny ran right out of his shoe. He lost the shoe just before he got to second base.
Now, how can that happen?
I don't know. Better tape it on or something. But just before he got to second base, he lost his shoe. Well, let's take a look and see if he slows down when he loses his shoe. As you mentioned, he finds a gap in the right center field. Now watch, when just before he gets to second base, right about there, he loses his shoe. Didn't seem to bother him any. And he's safely in the third.
Shoeless Tom Goodwin. So a triple for Goodwin. Here is Mark McLemore. The infield stays back, except at third base. Glaus is in shallow. McLemore with excellent speed himself. Been battling a hamstring problem of late. He's only had 8 at-bats in the young season. See Glaus in on the edge of the grass at third. The other infielders are backed up. So if he could pull a ground ball or hit a ground ball up the middle, he'll get an RBI here. No score. I would think that a guy like Goodwin would hit a lot of triples in this ballpark. Big alleyway out there in left center, 390. That he found the deepest part of the ballpark, as it was 407 feet to the right of straightaway center. 1 ball, 1 strike. Heading home is Goodwin, and that one gets right through Erstad and down the right field line, and McLemore's on the run. Heading into the corner is Salmon. McLemore's going to try for third. Here comes the relay from Velarde. 2, a triple for McLemore. One to nothing Texas. I say triple. We'll have to make sure the official scorer's call on that.
That was a very difficult play for Erstad to make it first base. That hop, it was a funny hop. You talked about how fast this infield is. He can't charge it because the ball's getting there so quick, and it just bounces over his shoulder. I mean, the infield's not only fast, but it's hard, and it is scored as a triple. And you see these guys just trading places.
Now Rusty Greer, and that's a ball inside. So consecutive triples for the Rangers, who until tonight had not hit a triple this year. We're waiting until Sunday Night Baseball got here, I guess. Rusty Greer, high in the air to center. Tagging at third is McLemore. That's out there, medium deep. Waiting for it, Anderson. McLemore's heading home. Anderson does not even come close. The throw cut off by Erstad, and quickly Texas has jumped ahead 2-0 over Belcher and the Angels.
Good job of hitting there by Rusty Greer to get the ball to the outfield and get the run home.
As we showed earlier, Greer averaging 98 RBIs a year the last 3 years. So he knows how to get that done. That's his 6th RBI this season. He leads the club right now. Here is Juan Gonzalez. Gonzalez has only 1 hit in the first 2 games of this series. 1 for 7. Down and in, ball 1. Well, I enjoyed your little chat with Gonzalez at the beginning of the telecast there, Joe.
But, yeah, when I talk to him, I mean, he's a very engaging guy. I mean, soft-spoken.
And that's ball 2. He has gone through a lot of controversial things in his life. In his personal life, he's had much turmoil, but he seems to have changed his life, and for the better. That's a foul. It will go out of play. 2 balls and a strike. After the 1995 season, he went to a church camp in the mountains of Puerto Rico with a group of 82 men. For 3 days, from 6 in the morning till midnight, he sat in a room and talked to people with every kind of problem you could think of. He slept in a bunk bed in a dorm room every night. And he said afterwards, he says, now I have peace of mind. I'm focused. They were the best 3 days of my life. So sort of a retreat that he went on. Sounds like it was pretty intense, but very beneficial for Juan Gonzalez. 2-2. Two balls, 2 strikes, 1 out, nobody on. Rafael Palmeiro on deck. 2 runs already in for the Rangers. And he smokes that one fair into the corner. Palmeiro digs it out, and Juan Gonzalez has a double. 2 triples and a double for the Rangers here to start the inning against Tim Belcher. And now Rafael Palmeiro will come up.
Well, Juan Gonzalez, I mean, he can hammer anything that he can get the bat to. You can pitch him away. He can drill the ball to right center field. You hang anything inside, middle of the plate in, he's going to rip it to left field. And you can see this ball is actually fair by hits right on the chalk line. And it's fair. He gets great extension with every swing. I mean, he swings like every ball could go out of the ballpark if he gets it in the air. He gets good extension, and he drives it.
And you might notice Juan is not as big and bulky as he had been for 2 or 3 years. going into a different kind of an off-season program as Palmeiro has to lurch back out of harm's way, and that high tight one from Belcher. 1 ball and no strikes.
I think Belcher just want to let him know he's still standing out there. I'm still here. It's not a pitching machine out here. It's me.
Is that all he was trying to say?
It's me out here.
That one is ripped into right field. A base hit. Gonzalez will come in to score, and Rafael Palmeiro picks up the RBI to make it 3-0.
You know what's funny about that is that a smart hitter knows that once he came up and in with a fastball, he's going to go away with that splitter. I mean, that's what you look for. You think he's going to do. And sure enough, he fired a fastball up and in, and he went away with the splitter. And Rafael, being a smart hitter as he is, drilled it to right field. And remember, this first pitch was up and in. Now this one is going away. This is a pretty good pitch. See, it's down and away, but Rafael Palmeiro knows it's going to be down and away also. You have to think with the pitchers a lot of times, and the good smart hitters will do that. I mean, where is he going to go after he comes up and in? He's not going to come there again, so basically he's going to go away.
Dick Pohl, the Angels pitching coach, out to have a visit with Tim Belcher. And now Ivan Rodriguez will stand in. When you get into this Ranger power, you stay in it for a while. Greer, Gonzalez, Palmeiro, Rodriguez, Todd Zeile hitting 7.
Lee Stevens.
And that's ball 1, sinking down and in to Rodriguez. I mean, the only team in all of Major League Baseball that outscored the Texas Rangers last year was the New York Yankees. I mean, we know they can score runs. The question with Texas, really, as it almost always has been, is going to be how well they pitch. In the air, left center, Garrett Anderson. And that is the 2nd out. Back to the bag, Rafael Palmeiro. And Napoleon, the first base coach, alongside. We mentioned Texas and all of that offense a year ago. Look at that. They almost averaged 6 runs a game, just a little bit below. But look at that ERA, 4.99. Only 2 teams were worse than that in the American League. The Orioles were the only other team with a worse ERA that ever made postseason play back in 1996. So they scored plenty of runs for their pitchers, and all too often it wasn't enough. Todd Zeile, that's ball 1. The veteran. Now this guy's a guy well capable of hitting 25 home runs or more. He stays healthy all year. 3-0, the Rangers ahead. High in the air, down the left field line, and deep, but foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. Panoramic view of the ballpark in Arlington out here.
Prairie.
The prairie, yeah, that's it. That one is belted down the left field line. Another base hit, another extra base hit. Palmeiro, who's not running well, he had some surgery on his knee, gets to third base, and Todd Zeile rips a double. That's the 4th extra base hit of the inning.
Well, he hangs a breaking ball inside, and Zeile rips it down the left field line. If Palmeiro's knees were healthy, he probably would have tried to score, but you can see that he's not running well. John Mitch had surgery in the winter, and he's not 100%.
Yeah, I mean, and part of the problem is it was very late, just before spring training, and he came back pretty early. He's really not running well at all. Here's Lee Stevens on the windup. Belcher. That one is fair. Nice pickup by Erstad. Takes it himself to retire the side. Well, he saved 2 runs right there. Kept it from being a 5-run inning. Tom Goodwin started it with a triple. 3-0 Texas. Here's Sunday Night Baseball. And you're looking at the Gum Out aerial cam, or you were. Come back to action now. There's a strike to Garrett Anderson. Left-handed hitter Troy Glaus and Chris Pritchett will follow. There's that big curveball from Aaron Sele. Big overhand slow curveball. 0-2 the count. And Sele's got a 3-run lead with which to work. The Ranger pitchers feel that that's the way it's supposed to be when they pitch. Usually they're supposed to get a 3-run lead right away because the Rangers score an awful lot of runs. Heading for first is Anderson Rodriguez, showing off that arm. Throws him out.
That was a curveball again. But you see why Rodriguez wins Gold Gloves. Watch him. First he blocks this ball, and then he's on it right away. I mean, he's way up the line, grabs it, and fires a strike to Lee Stevens at first base to retire Garrett Anderson. I mean, that's not nearly as simple a play as it appears, and he gets him by 3 steps.
Here's Glaus, the former intercollegiate star. The Angels are hoping that he's ready for the big show. He's off to a pretty good start this year. Past Zeal. I think Zeal kind of slipped a little bit before he made that dive. Greer goes in to get it as Glaus trots into second with a stand-up double. So Glaus, who had a hot spring, so hot that they traded Dave Hollins, convinced that he was ready to go, and he keeps it up. He's got 4 doubles already.
Well, he takes a fastball, looks like it's middle of the plate in, and he rips it past Zeal. Zeal kind of slipped a little bit before he started. I don't know if he would have been able to get it anyway. The ball was hit very hard.
So now Chris Pritchett. He was brought up from the minor leagues when Mo Vaughn was placed on the disabled list. Left-handed hitter, starts the game as the DH. That's a little bit low apparently. 1 ball and no strikes. Plate umpire Larry McCoy with Chuck Merriweather, Dale Ford, and Jim Evans working the bases. 3-0 the score. Texas on top. It's a high hard one by him. It's got to be. I mean, that should be a fat pitch.
Well, that one's up a little bit, I think, and that high fastball is still the toughest pitch to hit. I mean, you get that fastball up with some movement. See the ball moving away from him? That's a good pitch.
I mean, he probably shouldn't have swung at it.
No.
But it's still not 94 miles an hour and up there.
No, that's true.
Again, late on the fastball. And that one is back into the lower deck. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, we haven't seen much of Pritchett, but 90% of your left-handed hitters are always going to have trouble with that ball up and out over the plate because they're all low ball hitters.
Pritchett out of UCLA, first baseman with the Bruins, had a .341 career intercollegiate batting average. 3rd-team All-America back in 1990. Been in the Angels farm system since '91. The runner at second, Troy Glaus, 1 out. And a jump back away from that one. You can see the Pritchett there kind of dive in toward the plate, covering up that outside pitch. Almost hit him. That ball was not that far inside. I'm doing my own analysis now, Joe.
Well, you're correct, but most hitters do dive in nowadays.
And that's one of the points of this new idea with the strike zone, right? I mean,
right.
If they don't call that pitch several inches off the corner a strike, you don't really have to dive. But if they also call that inside pitch a strike, you really cannot afford to dive in. 3-2 to shortstop, and Shade can't handle it. Glaus will go to third. Well, the Rangers, whose defense was very porous last year, missing their regular shortstop, Royce Clayton, right there.
Because the infield is so quick, he waited on it. And, you know, normally you need to take 1 step. Watch. So he just waits there. You need to take 1 step forward. Plus, he was feeling it off of his left foot, which is the wrong way to catch the ball anyway.
Yeah, I think you should catch it with your glove if you can.
Well, you got to catch it off your right side anyway. He got that ball. He was trying to catch it off his left side.
He's been watching a little bit too much World Cup action there in the soccer, Joe. The curveball fouled out of play by Matt Walbeck, the catcher. 3-0 Texas ahead, and the Angels threatening to get right back into it here in the 2nd inning. There's Royce Clayton. Got a problem with his shoulder. A little muscle strain behind his shoulder. He tried again tonight before the game to see if he's going to be able to make it. And the report was not good.
Well, he thinks he may have heard it lifting weights. You know, they lift weights and stuff, and he thinks that may be part of the problem.
Tell me that he didn't say that.
Yes, he did.
I hate hearing that.
Yeah.
Did you scold him?
Yes. Yes, I did. But he already knew. He said.
That's a foul out of play. Still 0-2 to Wahlbeck.
Says he wasn't going to do it anymore anyway.
Well, it's easy to say now that he's hurt himself.
He said in the past, you know, he's lifted weights in spring training and in the winter sometimes, but he would always stop, you know, at the end of spring training. And this year he kept going, and he thinks that, you know, that he's not saying that is the problem. He's just saying that it could be.
John Shave getting the start in his place tonight. That curve in the dirt. Wahlbeck started to go, held up. And the umpire, Larry McCoy, wants to look at that baseball.
John, I think the inside pitch, the inside strike, is more important to pitchers than the outside strike for two reasons. First, you can miss off the plate inside and every once in a while get the inside corner, and then they're going to swing at that pitch. But if you're not calling that pitch inside, they're not going to even be worried about it, and they're diving out to get the outside pitch. But if you establish that you will come inside, it actually opens up more of the outside corner. It makes the middle of the plate like the outside corner to a hitter.
Well, there's that big curveball for the strikeout. And that was a big one with runners at first and third and only one out.
Well, we talked about a great curveball, and you can see the drop on that ball. The speed fools him and the break gets him as well. I mean, you can see the rotation there almost straight down, and the ball goes almost straight down. That's a tough pitch to hit, but it's also a very tough pitch to control. That's why you do not see a lot of pitchers throwing the overhand curveball. They throw a slider or a three-quarter curve, which they call a slurve, because it's tougher to control.
In the dirt, and talking about being fooled, Andy Sheets went around with that swing. It is 0-1. Last time we saw Andy Sheets, Joe, well, you saw him on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Last time I saw him was in the World Series when he was with the San Diego Padres. Utility infielder, playing a lot right now for the Angels with the injury to Gary DiSarcina. Ooh, that was close. 1 ball, 1 strike. Andy Sheets, handy guy, can play different positions. Klaus at third, Pritchett at first. Stevens on the bag with him over there. 1 ball, 1 strike to Sheets. That is called strike 2. And Sheets showed he could hit a little more last year than he had in the past, and we know that because Bruce Bochy used him as a pinch hitter against Mariano Rivera in the World Series.
Well, they had the theory that right-handers had a better chance against Rivera than left-handers did. I don't know if the right-handers agreed with him, but that was a theory that Merv Retman and Bruce Bochy had about Rivera.
Well, that is going to get a run home. Coming in to score is Klaus, and over to second base goes Pritchett. He was a strike away, was Aaron Sele, from getting out of the inning with nobody scoring, and then he threw one wildly. Not even Ivan Rodriguez could handle it.
He really held on to this pitch a long time, and Ivan is already set up outside, but you can see that ball is just, I guess it was supposed to be a slider, or you know, in between his curveball and his changeup, because he just kind of held on to it a little too long.
Wild pitch. It is 3-1 now, and Sheets with a base hit could make it 3-2. With the big curve too far outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. All of this happening at the bottom part of the Angels batting order. Klaus doubled. The big play in the inning, the error by Shave, and then the wild pitch. So really sloppy play for the Rangers here, giving away a run. Angels trying to take another one here. Oh man. So Sele strikes out the side, has 4 for the game. 3-1 Texas after 1 1/2.
Bill Pito in the studio as Gumout takes it to San Francisco for the Giants and Pods. They had 2 on, nobody out. Now they got 2 on, 2 out, and JT Snow is caught looking. So the score remains tied at 6, and right now they're playing John Miller in the bottom of the 8th inning.
All right, Bill. So we will keep you updated on that one. The Giants, who won 5 in a row before losing yesterday, and we'll also see them on Wednesday night, the second half of our Wednesday night baseball doubleheader. The Orioles and Yankees. David Cohn will go against Scott Erickson at 7:30. Then the Astros and the Giants at 10:30 from the Stick in San Francisco. First ball swinging, John Shave, left center. Garrett Anderson, 1 away.
John, I think I'll drive over to San Francisco and watch that game on.
You going to do that game?
Yeah, I think I'll go watch
it.
Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure that they have the spare booth ready for you.
All right.
With all of the usual amenities for you.
In fact, I think Bob Carpenter is going to ride over there with me.
I mean, you're pretty high maintenance, let's face it. Some guys just need a microphone, maybe a television monitor, but when you come, Joe, we pull out all the stops. There's a strike to Tom Goodwin. He started the 3. Did you need some popcorn there, Winston?
Well, since I'm going to be there, I guess I might as well broadcast the game, huh?
Oh, you're going to work the game, too?
Yeah, I might as well.
Man, that's going to be great. We'll have some popcorn there for you, Joe. Maybe some Dungeness crab.
They do have good popcorn there.
Garlic fries.
No, just popcorn.
Tom Goodwin's triple in the first started a 3-run rally for Texas. Got both shoes back on. I don't understand how he could just fly out of the shoe. Maybe those shoes are too big.
Well, maybe. Well, I think what he should do is just tape them on like they do in football.
I mean, if there'd been a play on him at third and he had to slide in there without his shoe on, well, that's not good.
Gloss wouldn't have to worry about getting spiked anyway.
Goodwin gets the walk. That was always the rap on Goodwin before. He just never walked. Had a much too low on-base percentage. Last year, he had the highest on-base percentage that he'd ever had.
And here he runs right out of his shoe. Watch his left shoe right there. Comes off. He doesn't miss it. He does not slow down, though. Inside corner of the bag and just keeps going.
So that brings up Mark McLemore. Goodwin getting his lead at first with both shoes back on. Let's see, I probably would have just gotten a double if that didn't, because I would have stopped and got back, gotten the shoe. Mark McLemore followed Goodwin's first inning triple with a triple of his own. One misses. 1 ball, no strikes to McLemore. 1 out, 1 on. Goodwin is a threat to run. He's got excellent speed. McLemore, the veteran, came up with the Angels years and years ago, but really did not find himself as an everyday player until he went to Baltimore under Johnny Oates. Oates ended up coming to Texas eventually. McLemore followed him over here too. Goodwin at first. Goodwin stole 38 bases last year and has stolen as many as 66 in a season. Like last year, the 38 steals, that was a career low for him. He also got thrown out 20 times.
Man, not a good ratio. He's getting a pretty good lead. He was getting a great lead, and then Belcher threw there once, and he shortened his lead.
He's holding as Wahlbeck was able to keep the ball in front of him. 2-0. 3-1 Texas. We're in the last half of the second inning. After McLemore, then the power comes up with Greer, Gonzalez, Palmeiro, Rodriguez, and on and on and on. There's the Gumout aerial cam flying around high overhead. Well, now it is 3-0, and that's got to. And Joe, I'm not the analyst here, but I'm throwing this out.
I agree with you.
I think this is because he's a little distracted by Goodwin.
I agree with you.
Oh, well, never mind then.
So I think that's one of the things that people really do not understand about base stealers or guys that can steal bases. It changes the pitcher's thinking pattern. It changes the catcher's. A lot of guys say the stolen base is not as valuable as it should, as people think it is. I think it's more valuable than they think it is.
He's running. And I think he's going to make it.
Why with timeout?
No pitch. Okay, I get it. There, McCoy raised his right hand. I thought he was calling it a strike. But it was timeout. Okay, I get it now.
Well, he must have called the timeout himself, the umpire. I didn't see McLemore requesting it, unless it was verbal.
Well, it keeps a good one at first base this time. On the actual 3-1 pitch, he did not run.
So I don't understand that, John. I mean, you got Goodwin. His strength is running and speed. His strength, to help the ball club, he needs to use that. I mean, 3-1. I was surprised that he took him so long to go 3-1. If you're a base stealer, 2-0, take off. And then 3-1, run, because you get yourself in motion. You open up a hole for the hitter.
There'll be a lot of holes out there now. You already got a big hole on the right side with Erstad holding against Goodwin.
Then you have the shortstop breaking. Then you have a hole on both sides of the infield. So I don't understand why he wasn't running 3-1. And I'm sure he'll be running 3-2. But in a runner's mind, there's no difference between 3-1 and 3-2.
He's running. And that is ball 4 to McLemore. Consecutive walks allowed by Belcher to the two guys who had consecutive triples the first time round against him. And the power's coming up with men on base. Greer with Gonzalez behind him.
And John, let me clarify that the reason there's no difference between 3-1 and 3-2 to a base runner is because you know he's not going to pitch out. You're not going to pitch out 3-1. They're not going to pitch out 3-2. So it's a license for you to take off.
That's a double play ball, the second. Velarde the second one. And 2, a double play. And Sheets easily gets Greer at first. Top of the order for the Angels coming up. 3-1 Texas.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. We keep America running.
That is the aerial view from the Gum Out aerial cam. From high above was downtown Big D. We can go anywhere with that, Joe.
Anywhere.
We can go. We can see anything we want. We're not just limited to the ballpark itself now. Orlando Palmeiro. Leadoff man. 1 ball and 2 strikes as he faces Aaron Sele, starting the 3rd inning off. Well, for a little while there, it looked like the Rangers just might run away and forget about the Angels early on. But there was a key play in that first inning. They had 3 on the board, and Lee Stevens was about to make it 5 on the board when Darren Erstad robbed him of a double and kept 2 runs from scoring. Lee Stevens and the Rangers got robbed there, and since then the Angels have been given a run, an error, a wild pitch, got them an unearned run in the second. So it's still a tight ball game here, and it could have been just the other way around. That's a ball too high. 2-2 to Palmeiro. Jim Edmonds got all kinds of aches and pains right now. They're thinking he might be back as early as Wednesday, though. He's eligible to come back there. That's a foul out of play in the curve. 2-2 the count. Terry Collins, the manager of the Angels, all these injury problems, and really that's nothing new for him. They've had injury problems ever since he got there. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Palmeiro. And that is foul. Orlando Palmeiro from Hoboken, New Jersey. Lives in Miami, Florida now. Went to Miami-Dade Community College. Popped up. Foul ground. Stevens gets to his own dugout. And that one is out of play. Stevens took the cue from Mo Vaughn in that one and did not. Just walk right down into the dugout, into the abyss. I mean, what happened with Mo in that play anyway?
Well, he said he just didn't realize he was that close to the edge of the dugout. And I was reading that, Jim Edmonds said, the Indians could have given him a little more help over there. What you'll see here is there aren't any Indians players over there telling him that you're at the end and you're, about to go and, fall off the edge. But the Indians, say, look, it happened so quickly. The ball wasn't that high. Before they knew it, it had already happened. Because you often see opposing teams run up, to try to keep a guy from falling in, because there's not a player in the world would want to see another player get hurt.
That's back out of play. Now, a guy would come over to catch a foul pop. And let's say Pete Rose was up. They come over by the dugout of the Big Red Machine, and you guys would all run over there to try to keep him from hurting himself?
Well, in Cincinnati, they had a rail there, but you'd always yell, hey, you're out of room.
And right through the legs of John Shave. Well, this infield is real quick, but Shave has had 2 that have gotten right through him.
Well, that was hit like a shot. He was trying to get over and get in front of that one, but he should have known this infield's so quick, you can't get in front of that ball and get your glove down in time. What you do on this is you're just backhanded. Watch. He tries to get over in front of it and get down. See, no, you don't have to do that. The infield is so quick. Just get over and backhand the ball. But he tried to do the proper thing. Fundamentally, you like to get in front of the ball. But this infield is just so quick, he didn't have time to get over in front of it.
Now Randy Velarde. So 2 errors for Shave. By the way, that was the 11th pitch of the at-bat to Orlando Palmeiro. So he gave Aaron Sele quite a battle. Curveball, that is down the right field line. It is a fair ball. It will go into the corner. Gonzalez has to go dig it out. Being waved home is Palmeiro. The relay to McLemore. He double clutches, throws to third now. Too late there. He was ready to throw home and almost did. Held up and then belatedly threw to third, by which time it was too late. It is 3-2 Texas.
That's poor communication there, because they were going to have Velarde at third easily if the throw would have gone directly to third base. Someone has to yell to McLemore before the ball even gets to him where to throw the ball. Someone should be yelling to him. Velarde swings late, hits this ball down into the corner. It's a double. Now watch, when the throw comes in, you see McLemore's lining up at home. No one tells him where to throw the ball, and then he decides to go to third.
That's a triple for Velarde. Here's Darren Erstad.
On a
strike one.
John, I'm sorry. On a relay, you're supposed to know where you're going with the ball before it gets to you. Someone has to say third base, or home, home. Before the ball gets to you, you're supposed to know where you're throwing it.
So Erstad trying to get the tying run home now. Curveball, squibbed foul, and it is 0-2. So, as you say, a little miscommunication. Shades of Johnny Pesky and Enos Slaughter, the 46 World Series. Slaughter kept going home, and nobody told Johnny Pesky about it. A sharp breaking ball, more of a hard slider, down and in. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Erstad is another one of these young guys along the lines of an Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, Nomar Garcia-Parra. I mean, the guy is very serious about this. He has great respect for the game, tremendous work ethic. Velarde at third. fights off that curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Erstad walked his first time. The former punter and place kicker out of the University of Nebraska. And Erstad, I like his comments, says he has a lot of respect for the players that played this game and the game itself. He believes in the traditions of this game. He says, I'm not gifted like Ken Griffey Jr. and Alex Rodriguez. I've got to work hard if I want to stay here. And that one just kind of flew out of the hands of Sele. Some people would disagree with him. They think that he is pretty gifted.
Well, I think he's gifted, but I think Griffey and Rodriguez work very hard too. I think it's, you know, a lot of people always have that misconception that the guys with great talent do not work hard. You know, it's kind of like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson. You know, people, he didn't work hard. I tell you what, Rodriguez and Griffey worked very hard.
And again, Erstad fouling one off. So Sele having a hard time putting batters away in this inning. 2-2.
It just looks easier for certain guys than it does for other guys.
Well, in fact, you'd probably say that he's much more like an Alex Rodriguez or Ken Griffey Jr. because of that work ethic.
Right. That's a good point. I think that's more apropos.
And the curve, and he finally got it. A curve apropos of the first out.
Well, let's take another look at this play. The
Come on, 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 come on. Keep going, hurry up. You gotta go. You gotta go. Get out, get out, get out. Stay here, stay here.
And that's Larry Bohr, third base coach for the Angels.
Doing some verbal coaching there.
He was always vocal on the field anyway.
Of course, going along with those verbal cues were a lot of visual cues. You gotta go. Come on. 1 strike the count to Tim Salmon. You know, that's the 55th pitch already for Sele. We're only in the 3rd inning. He had an 11 pitch at bat here to Palmeiro. Darren Erstad just took him I don't know, 8 or 9 pitches to before he finally got Erstad. 3-2 the score. Texas ahead. The possible tying run at 3rd base. Off the outside. 2-1. The Angels are giving it that Yankees look. I mean, working the count, fighting off tough pitches, making the guy work, labor. And maybe they'll get him out of the game an inning earlier than they might ordinarily have otherwise. That is too low with the slider. 3-1. And Rodriguez wanted that call. Larry McCoy. Tim Salmon, the hitter.
So he can take that pitch with 1 strike, but with 2 strikes, I guarantee you he would have swung at it. That's why it's important for a guy that throws a good curveball to stay out in front of the hitter.
Ooh. Blew that one by him, and the count is 2-2, or rather 3-2. Salmon, the only player in Angels history to 3 times hit 30 or more homers in a year. I mean, they really don't have much of a history of having big sluggers in their organization. And that curveball got him looking. So Sele comes back on 3-1. The fastball passed him, and then the big curveball to freeze him. And that is out number 2.
And if you're a right-handed hitter, I mean, this is just a devastating pitch because he freezes you. It starts over the inside part of the plate, and it also starts up, and then the bottom falls out of it. You look at the rotation, almost straight down, and there's just not a lot you can do with that pitch. I mean, unless you can recognize the spin on it way out in front.
Now Garrett Anderson, curveball too low. That's pretty impressive pitching here by Sele. After the triple by Velarde, 2 of the Angels' best hitters, Erstad and Salmon, up, and he struck both of them out. That runner is still at 3rd. And another fine hitter right here, Garrett Anderson. He's not a power hitter, but he's particularly dangerous in a spot like this.
Well, Garrett Anderson has really hit Sele well in his career. He was 7 for 12 before tonight's ball game, so he's 7 for 13, still pretty good.
He struck out on a ball in the dirt his first time. There is Velarde still at third with 2 down.
Laid off. And I'm sure Sele's aware of how well Garrett Anderson has hit him. And he's going to be careful with this pitch with Troy Glaus on deck.
Glaus, the rookie, a right-handed hitter, is on deck, although he did hit a double his first time. That is ball 4. First and third, 2 down. Let's get an update with Bill Pito.
All right, John, MCI takes us to San Francisco. There's a runner on second for the Giants. Rich Aurilia at the third. George Arias with 2 outs boots it. The Padres then intentionally walk Bonds to get to Jeff Kent. We're tied. We have 2 outs. Kent drops it in there. 2-run score. Giants win at 8-6. They've now scored 55 runs in their 7 games, John.
Giants with some heavy offense. In fact, last year they finished second in the National League in runs scored, and most of that was scored after they acquired Ellis Burks. It ended up being the 2nd highest scoring Giants team in the last 68 years. So they are especially productive at the moment, but it should be no surprise to see him score a lot of runs this year. Bonds is off to a hot start for a change, which has not been the usual for Barry the last couple of years. Here's Troy Glaus, runners at first and third. Here it's 3-2 Texas. Aaron Sele trying to wiggle out of a jam. And the curve, a strike. It's 0-1. Well, it looks like he's getting a higher pitch call to strike tonight from Larry McCoy.
Well, when a curveball starts up there, in the past, a lot of times they call it for high. But, I mean, that ball is breaking down so sharply, I think it's, by the time it gets to the plate, it is in the strike zone, even though it starts high.
Velarde at third, Anderson at first, 2 down. Fastball. 0-2.
That's the tough thing about hitting a guy that throws a lot of curveballs that start high. When the pitch starts up there again, you think it may be a curveball, but it's a fastball and it goes right by you. That's why certain pitchers pitch high in the zone, certain pitchers pitch low in the zone. But a good pitcher goes up and he comes down. He moves your eyes around.
And that curve is too low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's been a real high pitch inning for Aaron Sele. 32 pitches in this inning already. He got put into a jam immediately on the error by Shave. And both of the Angels' runs against him are unearned. That curve, a check swing, and a foul. So Glaus was able to fight that one off in spite of himself. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He hit a double with 1 out of the second and scored the Angels' first run. And he's off to a hot start this year. Former intercollegiate star. 8 for 19 at the start of the year. Sele, disagreement there with Ivan Rodriguez. Now he's ready. Fastball. Again, Glaus fights it off. We've got a lot of at-bats like this in this inning, Joe. Where he gets ahead of the hitter with 2 strikes, and then they start fouling the ball away.
Well, the problem he has now, he has a runner at third base and a runner at first, but third base, the guy at third base is bothering him in that he can't throw that real sharp curveball and risk bouncing it and get away from Rodriguez and let the run score. Because if there was no one on base, you throw the curveball, let it break into the dirt, and I guarantee you get a swing.
That's how he gave up a run in the second inning. Wild pitch. And the big slow curve got him swinging. For the 2nd inning in a row, he strikes out the side. Juan Gonzalez and then Rafael Palmeiro coming up. Headed by Gum out, 3-2 the Rangers lead. Aaron Sele and his pitching coach Dick Bosman having a long discussion after that inning.
Let's take a look at this curveball. One of the reasons, see, that's not a great curveball there. But one of the reasons hitters have so much problems with it, so many problems with it, is because they do not see that many overhand curveballs. That was not a good one. It was just in the middle of the plate. But because you do not see a lot of them, it's hard to adjust to them, coming straight over the top and breaking down like that.
Juan Gonzalez, the hitter. He swings at the breaking ball from Belcher and gets a bloop single into center field. Well, that's a hit that you don't expect from Juan Gonzalez, but it's a hit that a guy like Angels hitting instructor Rod Carew certainly would love.
Well, he gets good extension, as I mentioned. And watch the extension. Watch how he extends to the ball. See, he gets good extension. That's why he's able to make contact and flip that ball into the outfield. If he pulls off or rolls his wrist, he misses that ball completely. But he got good extension, and it wasn't pretty, but it works.
That's right. It wasn't pretty, but it worked. Rafael Palmeiro, foul ball. I mean, I'm kind of into pretty myself. Juan Gonzalez. I mean, he's hit a lot of balls that were very pretty, and so is this guy, Rafael Palmeiro. Juan Gonzalez, by the way, you mentioned getting it done. He had 318 last year to go with all those RBIs and all those home runs.
And he's still a young guy. Still learning, he says.
Only 29 years of age. And reunited with Rafael Palmeiro. Palmeiro is sort of the prodigal son, returning here to the Rangers after 5 years in Baltimore. And then is back out of play by Palmeiro. 1 ball, 1 strike. Or rather, 1 ball, 2 strikes. It is ironic, though. Palmeiro comes back to Texas. I mean, not only has he been productive, but he's able to play every day. Never going into the disabled list, never getting hurt, it seems. And what happens before spring training? He hurts himself, has to have some surgery. Belcher bends him back. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And anytime you're a hitter like Palmeiro who uses his legs well, when you have a knee injury, it bothers you. I mean, it keeps you from generating the same bat speed that you would have under normal circumstances.
Palmeiro had 43 home runs last year with Baltimore. Another blue. Anderson will have to play it on the bounce. I don't know. That was not
pretty.
all that pretty.
It wasn't pretty,
but effective.
And that's a good example of what I was talking about. Watch this swing. Or watch his hips and his legs. He does not get any drive from his legs here. Watch. Right there. See how they very unstable down at the bottom. But he does not get good drive on his legs, and you can see the ball dropping right in front of Garrett Anderson. Garrett, of course, not a normal center fielder. He plays left field most of the time. But with Edmonds out, he's playing center field today.
Two men on. Ivan Rodriguez up. A strike.
You still have to respect the power of both Gonzalez and Palmeiro, so you can't play in too shallow.
Well, I think it's the unusual one that would drop in front like that with those guys. Usually they hit the ball hard. In the dirt, nice save there by Wahlbeck. The Rangers top of their order. 6 hits, 7 at bats, plus 2 walks and a sacrifice fly. Goodwin, McLemore, Greer, Gonzalez, Palmeiro. Gonzalez and Palmeiro 2 hits apiece. Goodwin and McLemore each with a triple and a walk. But they have only a 1-run lead. That's out of play by Rodriguez. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rangers have 7 hits already against Belcher, plus the 2 walks. They've had 2 doubles and 2 triples. We're only in the 3rd inning. So at this point you say they've only got 3 runs. Belcher's done a good job, although he's been living dangerously. That's out of play. 1 and 2. Ivan Rodriguez, he's another guy. He's not very old either. And then this Rodriguez and Gonzalez have done great things already in their careers. Gonzalez only 29, Rodriguez only 27. That is back out of play. 1 and 2. Both Gonzalez and Rodriguez from Puerto Rico, from Vega Baja, Puerto Rico. Last week, of course, We followed the San Diego Padres, who played a home game in Monterrey, Mexico. The Rangers have talked about playing a series down in Puerto Rico at some point. That's a base hit. Well, we've seen some amazing hitting from three guys who ordinarily you associate with home runs, or in the case of Rodriguez, line shot doubles and triples. And they take some tough pitches here from Belcher, each one of them.
Now comes Terry Collins, who's going to talk to Belcher. I mean, this is just good hitting. I mean, look at where that pitch is. I mean, this ball is down below the knees toward the outside corner, and he just flips it with his hands and hits a bullet up the middle. Good attempt there at second base by Randy Velarde, but he could not catch up with it. I mean, when a guy can hit a pitch like that, I mean, you don't know how to pitch him. How do you pitch him? I mean, that was as good a pitch as you can make if you're Tim Belcher.
You know what it is? These guys can hit.
Yeah, I tell you, good. I've always said good pitching will stop good hitting, but good pitching can't stop great hitting. And that was great hitting right there.
Todd Zeile called a strike. Slider, and Zeil's knees buckling. There's Al Levine, who was in spring training with Texas. They waived him at the end of the spring, and the Angels picked him up. He's heating up out there right now. 3-2 Rangers, third inning. Nobody out. Bases loaded. Now it's 0-2 to Zeile. He doubled his first time. 8 hits against Belcher, and he's worked 2 innings plus. He's actually only retired six men. In fact, one of those in a double play. Retired 5 hitters and given up 8 hits. The 3 runners, Gonzalez, there's Palmeiro, Rodriguez. Zeile lays off. 1 and 2.
That was a good pitch there. It was a little higher than he wanted, but a good attempt by Belcher. He needed the strikeout, and he had him 0-2. He tried to get him to chase something up and out of the strike zone. Just got a little too high.
Left center. Base hit. 1 run will score. Remember, Palmeiro not running well. Gonzalez comes in to score. On another bloop. Another tough pitch. 4 consecutive singles by the Rangers, and it is 4-2 Texas.
Well, this is such a big outfield. You're going to have a lot of balls drop in like that. It's kind of like Denver. You have the outfield is so big and they play so deep, a lot of balls drop in. This is another good pitch. I mean, these pitches are not strikes. I mean, these pitches are below the knees and diving down, and they're able to get them in the air. That's the funny thing about it. Normally a ball like that, you'd hit a ground ball off of it. And he knows right now that that's going to be a little bloop. I mean, he can tell the way it left the bat that it was going to drop in.
Well, Garrett Anderson. They're going after Garrett out there. Not normally the center fielder. And they keep hitting it in front of him. I mean, these guys are supposed to be hitting it over his head. That's their reputation. Lee Stevens. That's out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. 4-2, the Rangers ahead. I mean, all 4 of the hits in this inning, each guy, I mean, they've been almost identical in terms of the kind of swing they put on the ball.
And the pitch location. And just all of them have been very similar. Looks like breaking balls down and away.
2-1 now to Lee Stevens. He had to move back out of the way of that one. Well, I mean, Texas, as you see the runners, Palmeiro at third, Rodriguez at second, Zeile at first. They scored all those runs last year. They hit a lot of homers, and remember, they hit 289 as a team. This should be 2. Velarde the second 1, and back to first, too late. Hard slide at second by Zeile. Coming in to score is Palmeiro. Rodriguez to third, and it is 5-2, and Stevens will get an RBI.
Well, I actually have to blame this on the double play combination there, because watch how deep Velarde catches this ball. There's no reason for him to be this deep. I mean, there's no reason to be that deep when you're trying to turn a double play, so you make 2 long throws. And when you make 2 long throws, you cannot double anyone up. You have to move in and closer to second base so that you get the ball quicker. You get the ball to the second baseman quicker. I mean, he cut that ball way like if you're playing routine, if no one's on base. Too deep.
Shaved the hitter. Well, sometimes those double plays not turned are what causes the ball game to turn.
Well, when you get Lee Stevens to hit the ball that sharply on the ground, as the pitcher, you've done your job. I mean, that you have to turn that double play.
John Shave, the hitter, flying out to left center his first time. Runners at first and third, 1 out. 5-2 Texas. Foul ball out of play. 0-2 the count to Shave.
One of the keys to making double plays is you want one short throw and then the long throw. You do not want 2 long throws. 2 long throws, and you're not going to double up very many base runners.
To the count. Now, if Velarde's team had been leading 5-2,
right,
whatever,
yeah,
right,
then you're trading out for a run. But if they're not in position to trading out for a run, you want to get a double play. You have to make sure if you get the ground ball, you make the double play.
A lot of bad news in the middle infield for both teams tonight so far. This one, yes, he did. So Shave, pitcher was up around his eyes that time. 2 down in the inning.
I don't think there's any doubt that he went. He tried to stop his swing, but he went way too far. From this angle, you'll see it's not even close.
This is not a night that John Shave is wanting to remember so far. Errors at short. Just a pitch up about forehead level that time. Tom Goodwin tripled his first time, walked his second. 5-2 Texas. The Rangers 9 hits already against Tim Belcher. Teams missing their regular shortstops tonight. Clayton for the Rangers, DeSarcina for the Angels. This is going to be a much more long-term problem for the Angels because DeSarcina might not get back till July. Clayton should be back in a day or 2.
Yeah, he actually thought he was going to play today. There's Terry Collins.
Of course, the Angels also have a young second baseman they thought might be there for years, Justin Bachman, and he's out. Another foul ball. A lot of foul balls in this ball game. 0-2 the count to Tom Goodwin. A lot of pitches thrown. Aaron Sele is up over 70 pitches, and Tim Belcher's right behind him. From the ballpark in Arlington. Very nice ballpark. Not too far from the old Arlington Stadium here, but very far in look and in feel and in terms of being a big league park. This is the big time.
Real big.
That's the shot from the gum out aerial can. That's a foul off the foot of Tom Goodwin. 0-2 the count. I mean, this is Goodwin's third time up, and it's the third inning. I mean, Tim Belcher must feel like it should be about the 7th inning by now. Belcher's at 64 pitches thrown in this game. And we're in the 3rd inning. Back to the bag at first is Lee Stevens. Ivan Rodriguez, meanwhile, the runner over at third base. First 4 Ranger hitters of this inning all hit singles on real good Tim Belcher pitches. Juan Gonzalez, Rafael Palmeiro at the first 2 of those hits. Stevens back. I guess maybe Belcher just figures no nobody can hit a foul if he just throws it over to first. Because I don't think Stevens is much of a threat to be trying to steal here just now. And the count 1-2 to Goodwin. Mark McLemore would be next. 5-2 Texas. The Rangers would not mind putting a real pounding on the Angels tonight, because Angels beat them 10-0 here last night and 8-4 the night before. And Goodwin's got great speed, but that one will not stay full. Rodriguez will turn around and go back to third. Stevens back to first. Goodwin back to the plate. That was pretty exciting to see all those guys racing so hard on a ball that was hit about 50 feet.
Well, we've seen Goodwin hit what some people call the most exciting play in baseball. That's the triple. And that was going to be exciting, too, and it was only going to go about 30 feet.
Most exciting 30-footer it hit.
Yeah.
And it goes to 2-2. It misses down and in. In fact, we've had 3 triples in this game already. Goodwin and McLemore, the first 2 Rangers of the game, both hit triples. And then Randy Velarde hit a triple for the Angels earlier in this inning. There's McLemore on deck. And Sheets to Velarde. The inning is over. 7 men bat for Texas, 2 score. 5-2 Rangers after 3. Sunday Night Baseball from Arlington, Texas. John Miller, Joe Morgan with you. 5-2 the Rangers over the Angels, as Chris Pritchett, the DH, tries to bunt his way aboard but fouls it back against Aaron Sele.
John, I like to be critical without showing what I was talking about. Here on the double play, I'm going to show you something. Now freeze it right there. If you're a second baseman, you have to catch this ball in here. Look how deep Velarde is.
Foul ball.
And now it turns into a real long throw. You have, as a second baseman, you always move in. Second baseman should be in here. The shortstop moves in, and that's how you make a double play. See, now you got a long throw and another long throw, and you're not even going to get a guy like Lee Stevens on that play. You have to cut the ball off sooner and get it to the second shortstop sooner. That's what I meant by him taking the ball too deep. You have to take it from a shorter angle than that.
1 ball, 2 strikes to Pritchett. Well, that cost him. And the Rangers have also had their problems in the middle infield. John Shave has committed a couple of errors that have helped. The Angels scored their 2 runs against Sele. 1-2. Although I guess actually, in fairness to Velarde,
well, but it still cost him because it made Belcher have to throw extra pitches.
You're right.
And so
he threw quite a few more pitches.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you're the pitcher, you get the ball that you want. You get the ground ball. It's up to your infielder to turn the double play. And like I said, eventually we'll catch up with you anyway.
I mean, they would have scored a run in the play anyway because nobody was out, but he could have finished the inning with the very next hitter. Still had to face 2 more hitters, probably threw 10 or 15 more pitches. 1 away. Todd Zeile throwing out Pritchett.
Let's take a look at what Sele has done. This beautiful curveball. Look at this. Every one of them is on a curveball.
The last 2 innings, he struck out the side.
And John, remember, he has been 16-3 in his last couple of years at the beginning of the year. And a lot of times, you know, hitters are not accustomed to that great curveball this early in the year, and they haven't made the adjustment yet. And he's been able to throw it and fool the hitters and get them out.
Wallbeck, soft roller to second. McLemore, 2 men gone. Well, you know, he's spread out those strikeouts today. The only 2 Angel hitters who have not struck out, and remember, we're only in the 4th inning, our leadoff man Orlando Palmeiro and the DH Chris Pritchett. I mean, every other guy, the other 7 men in the lineup have all struck out, including Andy Sheets, who comes up now.
There's no doubt he has a great curveball. But the fastball has been the thing that has set those curveballs up. He's gotten ahead in the count with the fastballs and put them away with the curveball.
So when we show the strikeout pitch, we're not showing
the whole story. Yeah. You're showing the pitch that he closed it out with, but not the pitch that he set it up with.
1 ball, 1 strike. Sele has also tonight set up that curveball because he's almost invariably thrown that first pitch strike. He's been 0-1 on almost everybody. This is the 18th hitter of the game that he's faced, and 14 of them have been started with strike 1. That's got to be a key for him.
Yes, it is, and that's what we said at the beginning. His fastball was the key because he starts most of the hitters off with a fastball.
And the fastball got him looking. That's his first strikeout with the fastball. He got 8 Ks. McLemore, Greer, and Gonzalez coming up. 1999, our 10th season. This is John Miller, along with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters. And Tim Belcher to Mark McLemore, ball 1. Sunday night baseball. Next Sunday, again, 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. We'll have a ball game for you. McLemore, a strike. McLemore has tripled home a run, and he has walked. Neither one of these teams had hit a triple this year, and in the first 3 innings, there were 3 triples hit. One by the Angels. McLemore with a bloop. They're blooping him to death.
Well, they hit some toward the end of the bat for base hits. Now McLemore hits this one on the handle.
Next Sunday, we will be in Anaheim. Lou Piniella, Ken Griffey Jr. and the Seattle Mariners into Anaheim to take on the Angels on ESPN. Sunday night baseball. Don't miss it. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. More American League West action. I'm not so sure, although the Angels and Rangers seem to be the top 2 candidates to battle it out. I don't think Lou Piniella and Ken Griffey Jr. feel it that way exactly about it.
Even with the loss of Alex Rodriguez, they still have a potent offense up in Seattle.
Well, they missed him today. They only scored 11 runs. Rusty Greer, the hitters, had a sacrifice fly and is hit into a double play. It goes to 2-0. Juan Gonzalez is on deck. And I talk about having some bad luck. As Gonzalez gets ready on deck. I mean, they lose Alex Rodriguez, I guess, for what, 4 to 6 weeks?
Minimum.
And now they've lost their hotshot rookie, Carlos Dien. That is a base hit. And the Rangers are playing little ball here. They're hitting bloops. They're hitting them off the fists. This was a ball that followed a banana-shaped arc. And here comes Terry Collins.
That's what makes you mad as a pitcher. I mean, you make a good pitch, you jam a guy, gets a base hit, make a bad pitch, and he hits a bullet off you, so it doesn't matter.
Well, that's it for Belcher in 3 innings plus. He's given up 11 hits. Gonzalez coming up, a pitching change. Sunday night baseball presented by Gum Out. Last of the 4th, 5-2. The Rangers lead the Angels, and an early exit for Tim Belcher, although that's a relative term. I mean, he only went 3+ innings. On the other hand, he threw over 70 pitches while he was out there, and they roughed him up 11 hits. And here is Al Levine, the former Ranger. He was with the Rangers until right near the end of the spring when they waived him, and the Angels picked him up. He inherits 2 runners, McLemore at second and Rusty Greer at first. And he also inherits a chance to face one of the great RBI men in the game today, Juan Gonzalez. A sinker missing. Gonzalez has had a double and a single in this game and has scored twice. He's been setting the table for other guys tonight instead of driving in the run. He's been getting on base. Could be 2. Get 1 there. Velarde to first. Big double play. McLemore goes to third.
Nice turn there at second base by Velarde. Good play by Glaus at third. Take another look at it. See, Glaus is in tight at third in the baseline. He gives Velarde a good throw. That's the key. Give the guy at second base a good throw, and if you do that, it's like playing catch. It becomes very easy to make a double play if you get a good throw.
Rafael Palmeiro takes a strike. Palmeiro singled home a run in the first and had a bloop single in the third. He's 2 for 2. I mean, if you're the Rangers right now, I mean, you have a 3-run lead. You're ahead 5-2. But you might feel you should be ahead about 9-2 by now.
And it's the old saying, if you let a team stay around long enough, they may turn on you. And the Angels are capable of scoring some runs.
Nice pitch on the inside with the sinker. Palmeiro caught looking. Great job by Levine getting Gonzalez and Palmeiro on 5 pitches. Sunday Night Baseball, top of the 5th inning from the ballpark in Arlington. Aaron Sele to work. Ball 1 to leadoff man Orlando Palmeiro. Mentioned he was out of Miami-Dade Community College, but also the University of Miami. At 365 as a Hurricane his 1 year there. Orlando Palmeiro playing in place right now of the injured Jim Edmonds. Of course, you could say he's playing in place of anyone about 5 or 6 different guys on the Angels. I mean, it's pretty early in the season to have 9 guys on the disabled list. 3-1 the count. Randy Velarde will follow, and then Darren Erstad due up third in the inning. Gary DiSarcina suffered a fractured forearm. A freak accident during spring training. 3-2 the count now. As I understand it, he got hit by a bat, somebody hitting fungos.
George Hendricks was hitting fungos, and he came around the one side of the cage, and he hit him, you know, with the fungo bat as he followed through while he was hitting ground balls. And John, I tell you, I'm amazed that more people do not get hurt during batting practice, because there's so many things going on. You have a coach on one side of the cage hitting to the right side of the infield, a guy on the other side hitting to the left side of the infield. You have guys hitting fly balls to the outfield. There's so many things going on. Plus, they're taking, you know, batting practice.
Popped up. And caught by Shaves. 1 away. Well, Adam Levine did quite a job under duress when he came out of the 4th inning.
Nice 5-4 to 3 double play, and then he strikes out Rafael Palmeiro. And they really like Levine. I mean, they were just surprised that they were able to get him, you know, so cheaply at the end of spring training.
1 out. Here's Velarde. Big curveball called a strike. Velarde tripled his last time. He's also struck out. One of the 8 strikeouts by Sele. I mean, you could hardly do better than what Levine did there. When you face Gonzalez and Palmeiro with runners at first and third, and nobody scores, you can't do better than that.
Well, you got 2 of the best RBI men in the American League hitting back-to-back there. And Levine was able to induce Gonzalez into the double play and strike Palmeiro.
Sele looked like a comebacker, and he couldn't handle it. And reaching is Velarde.
Well, he took his eyes off the ball because that wasn't hit that sharply. He had plenty of time to field it. But most of the time when a pitcher's out of position, because when he delivers the ball, that it's tough for him to catch the ball. Now watch, you'll see it, even though this will be in slow motion, he has time. He just takes his eyes off of the ball. You can see right there. And it becomes a base hit.
Is the official scorer's decision. It brings up Darren Erstad.
Most of the time you hit a ball back to the pitcher's mound. If they don't field it, it's a base hit, because they are in a very vulnerable position when they release the baseball. They don't have a lot of time to react.
Here's Erstad. He has walked and struck out. Just strike.
John, over the years we've talked about how intense Terry Collins is. You know, I was doing the game on Wednesday night. They were getting their brains beat out by Cleveland. I looked over and he looked very relaxed. So before the game today, I went up to him and I told him, I said, you look very relaxed Wednesday when I saw you and you guys weren't doing that well. He said, Joe, it all goes back to last year.
1 strike to count. 1-1.
He said last year he was in the outfield with Tony Phillips at the end of the year. And Tony Phillips says, Skip, I know you're intense. I know this game means a lot to you. He said, but you've got the horses. Relax. Just ride them, and you'll enjoy this more. And he said he took it to heart, and he's been like that ever since. I mean, there is a big difference in Terry Collins this year and what he was in the last couple of years. And the players see it, the players feel it, and they say he's more relaxed, which helps them to relax a little bit more.
1-2 now to Erstad. That second pitch, by the way, was ruled a swing, as you saw, by Jim Evans. Well, I think that's very important.
Yeah, that was always a knock on him.
He sets the tone.
In Houston, that was a knock on him, that he was too intense, kept the players too uptight. But now he seems more relaxed, and he's enjoying it more.
Well, you take a guy like Earl Weaver, Hall of Fame manager. When he would really turn up the volume is when the team was going good.
Right, exactly.
There'd been a winning streak, and any little mistake, he'd jump on it. But when they were in a slump, he'd be the most relaxed guy around, telling jokes. I don't know if they're all jokes per se, but getting laughs and trying to keep everybody loose.
Well, I mean, I think teams are an extension of their manager. I mean, in a lot of cases, if the manager shows a little uptightness or he panics a little bit, chances are the team's going to do the same thing.
3-2 the count to Erstad. Tim Salmon, the cleanup man, is on deck. 1 out, 1 on. The runner goes. We'll keep him out of the double play as Shave throws out Darren Erstad. Velarde safely into second base. Erstad now 0 for 2, and Tim Salmon will come up. 5-2. The Rangers lead in the 5th.
Well, the runner's going, but they did a good job, meaning the Rangers, they had the second baseman covering and not the shortstop. So the shortstop stayed in his position, and he was able to field that ground ball. If he was covering, it would have been a lot tougher play for him to make.
Velarde at second. 2 down. Tim Salmon to try and bring him home. Big, strong, powerful hitter. Curveball low and outside. Nice save by Ivan Rodriguez. 1 ball, no strikes.
And I was listening to Skip Carey today. He said he's going to hustle to Philadelphia so he could watch the game tonight. So he's watching it. Hi, Skip.
Skip, we love you, baby. The Braves won today, 3-2 over Arizona. What a tough first week for Arizona. Every time they took a lead into the 9th inning, they lost it, except for last night when they ended up with an 8-3 win, and they stayed with Randy Johnson to finish it himself.
It's been a real tough week for Greg Olson. I mean, he's their stopper last year. He's had 3 blown saves.
Count goes to 3-0 to Salmon. Garrett Anderson on deck. Well, I feel bad for Greg Olson because he missed most of the spring with some tendonitis. I mean, just right now, he just doesn't look like the same Greg Olson who had 30 saves for Arizona last year.
It's not that easy just to step in and pick up where you left off last year without, you know, some work in spring training.
3-1 the count. Arizona, tough first week anyway. 3 at Dodger Stadium and then 3 in Atlanta. I mean, that's as tough as it gets. In 1 week's time in the National League. And they lost 5 out of the 6. Well, that's ball 4 to Salmon. 2 men on with 2 men out. Say, friends, the 1999 NFL Draft is coming up. 17 hours of live coverage beginning Saturday on ESPN at noon. For more on the NFL Draft, pick up a copy of ESPN Magazine's NFL Draft Preview issue, available on newsstands now. Also, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. I'm into that myself, Joe. I'm always logging on to that now.
Yeah, I like that cover. A lot of quarterbacks on the cover. First 4 guys, 4 of them maybe drafted in the first round.
There's Dick Bosman visiting with Aaron Sele. And the Rangers have their bullpen busy now. We're only in the 5th inning, and Sele got a very high pitch count already. A tough night for him. Tim Crabtree, the right-hander, warms up. Sele's next pitch will be his 100th pitch thrown in this game.
And Garrett Anderson has had a lot of success against him in the past.
He has struck out in this game and walked. He comes on with 2 base runners, Velarde at second, Salmon at first. 2 down. He'll be off and running at the crack of the bat. That's almost the same pitch on which he struck him out in the second inning.
And that's hard for me to understand. I mean, look, he had a fastball swing at that, and it was a big curveball.
So he's just not picking up the
he's
spin
not
on the ball.
picking up the rotation, or he's, you know, even just maybe even seeing the ball laid out of Sele's hands.
And again, you don't expect that from a guy who's had a history of success against the pitcher. That usually means he sees the ball real well against.
That's why you hit guys well, because you do see the ball well right away, and you recognize the pitch very quickly.
Angels have struggled in this kind of a situation all night. Men in scoring position, needing a hit, they have not been getting it. And quickly, it's a ball and 2 strikes now to Garrett Anderson on that foul ball. The Angels are 0 for 6 as a team in their at-bats with men in scoring position tonight.
This will be an interesting pitch because Rodriguez has gone out to talk to him. And I think what he wants to tell him is, you know, we bounced it. It got away from me the first time. Don't be afraid to throw that same pitch and see if we can get him to chase it. He said, I'll block it for you. Because you do not want to throw a strike with the curveball here. Try to throw something to get him and chase it out of the zone as he did before.
2 on, 2 out. Oh, came in with a good hard sinker. Well, it did miss by much.
I think he decided, well, I'm going to try one off the plate inside. He tried to waste it, but I guarantee this will be a curveball. In fact, I'll bet your house on this.
It's here's another house. On the street again.
Fastball in again.
Honey, he was kidding about it. It's 5-2, Texas. We go to the last of the 5th. Bonner Rodriguez against Alan Levine, his old battery mate. Not that old. I mean, what, 10 days ago they were working with each other in spring training. Rodriguez has flied to center, and he has singled 1 for 2. Todd Zeile and Lee Stevens will follow. 5-2, Texas out front. Good running sinker and popped him up shallow left. Orlando Palmeiro. He dropped the ball, and Rodriguez was not running. Rodriguez, unhappy about popping it up, did not hustle, and he got only the 1 base.
I tell you what, we're seeing some unusual defense here tonight. I mean, this is just a routine fly ball. It hits right in the middle of his glove and bounces out. And here's Rodriguez. He pops it up. Actually, he's not even looking at it.
Uh-oh. Yeah, that's not the way we were taught it, Joe, when we were 10, when we were 8.
Well, I'm not going to get on him about that one. You can. Because the guy should have caught the ball. I mean, he's a major league player out there. He should catch that ball.
I mean, he even tried to.
He shouldn't be embarrassing the player like that. He should catch the ball. I mean, it's a major league game.
So Rodriguez should be upset at Palmeiro.
Right, exactly. It's a major league game.
Showing him up like that.
Yeah, it's a major league game. Catch the ball.
I mean, we couldn't even say Palmeiro tried to one-handed. I mean, he two-handed it. Well, now Rodriguez is taking second base. He should have been there, and he took it.
Well, he's there now.
All right. So now I agree with you, Joe. I'm outraged that Palmeiro would show him up like that. I mean, he had to steal that base, though.
Yeah, he says, I got to get down there. He said, I don't want to hear it from my teammates tomorrow about how I didn't run that fly ball out.
It wasn't even that he just wasn't running it, though. I mean, he wasn't even looking.
Yeah, well, he just assumed that.
Now, a good bit of situational hitting there by Zeile to get Rodriguez over to third base. I never saw Texas play this kind of little ball before.
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing him hit 2-3 home runs and clean off the bases that way. Not stealing bases, hitting behind the runners, a lot of these singles on bloops and whatnot.
You could see Johnny Oates giving Todd Zeile a high five there because this is an important run. I mean, the score is only 5-2. And this run is important.
I mean, and it's a gift if they can get it. Pop fly, routine play. Palmeiro dropped the ball. Infield has moved in for Lee Stevens. Stevens is 0 for 2 in the game. You've seen it. The shortstop, Sheets, playing almost right up the middle. Stevens was robbed of a double in the first inning by Erstad. Hits one off the shin guard of the catcher, Matt Wahlbeck. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, I just don't understand how he dropped that ball. I was hoping that you'd analyze that for me.
No, it hit right in the middle of his glove. He just dropped it. Well, let's see. Let me see if I can analyze this. He hits right in the middle of his glove and bounces out. And he used 2 hands. I mean, he did everything fundamentally correct. He just didn't squeeze it.
3-1 the count to Lee Stevens. I guess when you put it a different way in Orlando Palmeiro, that's just the way I used to do it, Joe. And a walk for Stevens.
Well, one of the reasons I can't get on Rodriguez is I hit a ground ball to first base one day, 1 hopper, and I started to run, and the guy was running toward the bag and fell down. And he made me look bad because I actually thought he'd tagged the bag, so I veered a little bit to the right going toward the dugout. And he had fallen down just short of the bag, made me look bad. I mean, he's a major league player, and he can't touch the bag at first base. At least that's what I told him. That's why I yelled at him from the dugout.
And what were your teammates yelling at you?
Run.
John Shave. Well, I mean, hey, I guess Rodriguez might hit 50 more pop-ups like that, and they'll all be caught
right
the rest of this year. But on Sunday Night Baseball, it was not caught.
But he made up for it. He stole the bag.
He did. 1 ball and no strikes to Shave. I mean, it's been a real sloppy game. Shave made a couple of errors that have cost the Rangers a couple of unearned runs, plus a wild pitch brought one of those runs home by Aaron Sele. That's foul. The Angels did not turn a double play back in the 3rd inning that should have been turned. And you get a routine pop fly is dropped by Orlando Palmeiro.
And see, that's what's great about doing a national broadcast. You don't have to protect anybody. If you're a local broadcaster, you have to make an excuse here and there.
No, I don't believe that.
Well, some guys do.
I think the guys who do that, Joe, are not good.
I agree.
1 ball, 1 strike. There's Rodriguez at 3rd, Lee Stevens at 1st. Fans know. So you're not fooling anybody.
That's true.
Tom Goodwin on deck. And it goes to 2-1 to John Shave.
And you can just see how defense really plays a big part in this game. And as I've said before, I think defense is far more important in today's game than it was 10, 15 years ago, simply because you cannot afford to give teams extra outs now because they're scoring so many runs. If you make a mistake and you leave your pitcher out there, he usually gives up a big inning. They have a big inning.
2-2 the count. Yeah, giving away extra outs. That's not good.
Not in today's game, not in the way the game is played today, and not as many runs as a team scored today. You better not make very many mistakes if you're going to be a good team.
Base hit. So Rodriguez, who popped up to start the inning, has scored. And Stevens over to 2nd. So now you go to the top of the batting list. So the Angels have given away a run here. Dick Pohl on the phone to the bullpen.
Well, When things are going badly, they just continue. That's a breaking ball, but it kind of stays up a little bit. He rips it in the left field for a base hit and another unearned run.
6-2. Here's leadoff man Goodwin. John Shave kind of needed that base hit too.
Yes.
After his 2 boots earlier at shortstop. Shave at first. In there for Royce Clayton, the regular shortstop, who's hurting right now. 2-0 the count to Tom Goodwin. He has tripled, he's walked, and he's hit into a force play. 6 runs and 12 hits for Texas. We're only in the 5th. That's a called strike on the outside, framed nicely there by the catcher Matt Wallback. 2-1. These 2 teams are going to play another ball game against each other tomorrow. Series will continue. It's a 4-game series early on. That is a strike on the inside. Now the Angels, as we mentioned at the very beginning of the telecast, as you see Scott Schoenweiss warming up in the bullpen, left-hander. 3 times in the last 4 years the Angels just basically have collapsed in September in pennant races. Now Goodwin's got excellent speed, but Glaus throws him out. Nice play. Stevens to third, Shave to second. 2 down, and McLemore coming up. 6-2. The Rangers are leading. Last September, for instance, it was the Rangers and the Angels in the pennant race. And the Angels had a very poor September and played Texas 5 times, and the Rangers won all 5 of them. That's where the Angels have disintegrated. It began in the 1995 season in that pennant race with Anaheim and Seattle. Mark McLemore on the first pitch fouls out to Glaus. So it could have been worse. Levine gets out of it with just the 1 unearned run on the error by Palmeiro. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gumout. 6-2 Rangers as we go to the 6th inning. Back in the 5th, Sele was in a little bit of a jam, and his pitching coach Dick Bosman came out. Here's what they say.
Make sure we stay down. Yeah. Stay away from this guy as much as you can. All right. You want to high him once coming in. Yeah. Maybe late if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, trust that hook on out there. Make him swing at that darn thing too. Okay. Okay. All right. All you got to do is go to the mitt right here. Pudge, keep him down.
Well, see, Johnny, if he would have listened to Bosman, he could have saved your house. Bosman wanted him to throw a curveball outside. He said, go out there with that curveball if you let him chase that hook.
He did say stay away from him.
Yeah, on the hook, too. He also said throw him the hook.
Now, I wish we'd had the conversation and what they talked about when they got back to the dugout.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the last pitch for strike 3. He went in there with the pitch before that, too.
2 times.
Troy Glaus drives one high and deep into the night here in Texas. It is gone. Wow. A very impressive home run by young Troy Glaus, his 2nd of the year. It is 6-3. That's the first home run of the night by either team. Glaus, who earlier had a double.
And John, they think this young fella can hit with some power if he gets a chance. And that's why they gave him the job and traded Dave Hollins. I don't know what that is. It didn't look like a slide. It looked like it had some spin, but it didn't break. And Glaus put a charge into it.
Well, since it landed in the stands, I'm just going to call it a hanger.
Yeah, okay. Even if it was a fastball, it was a hanger.
A hanging fastball. Chris Pritchett. That was not a hanger.
No, there's the curve.
Troy Glaus. He's a big guy. 6 feet 5 inches tall. He's a native of Southern California. Oh, man. Rodriguez will have to throw him out. The ball ended up in the dirt. Pritchett is gone. That's 10 strikeouts for Sele, who is just 1 strikeout away from equaling his career record for a single game. I think 9 of the, let's see, 8 of the 10 strikeouts are on curveballs. Troy Glaus having quite a first week. in his first season in the big leagues, where he began the year in the big leagues. Out of UCLA, Troy Glaus. A curveball in the dirt to Matt Wahlbeck, who has struck out and grounded a second. Glaus had a career .344 average at UCLA. 3 seasons there. And as a junior, he hit .409 with 34 homers and 91 RBIs in 67 games. And Joe, some guys come out of there with the wooden bat and they don't look quite as impressive, but he does.
Yes.
Troy Glaus. I think you saw him at the College World Series.
Yes, I did. And then again, if you're 6'5", anything feels small in your hand.
2-2 the count to Matt Wahlbeck facing Aaron Sele. Texas bullpen is busy. Tries that sinker inside, but it stays in there. 3-2. Sheets on deck. In the bullpen, the right-hander Tim Crabtree. The left-hander is Munoz. And a foul ball driven down the left field line. Mike Munoz and Tim Crabtree in the bullpen for Texas if needed. And soon they will be needed, because Aaron Sele has reached 120 pitches thrown in this game. Long throw coming up to Shave. In time. 2 down. Let's get an update now. Here's Bill Pito.
Okay, John, our Propecia rising star this week is the Indians' Richie Sexson, who went 3 for 5 today with 2 doubles, a triple, and 3 RBIs in Cleveland's 9-8 win over Minnesota. He went 2 for 5 yesterday, and right now is hitting .321 for the year. John, back to you.
Richie Sexson. I don't think John Hart talks to any team about any kind of a trade without somebody saying, okay, well, we want Richie Sexson to start with. Pretty impressive. Although that triple, Joe, I'd have to say, probably not anything more than a single on a
Natural turf.
Natural turf, yeah. It was one of those fake turf extra base hits. Andy Sheets has struck out twice against Aaron Sele. 2 down in the 6th inning. Punches one. Base hit. So Sheets gets the 5th hit for the Angels. It's a 6-3 Rangers lead in the 6th inning. Sports Century on ESPN. Lawrence Taylor this week. He's number 40. Football great. Greatest linebacker ever. Led the Giants to the Super Bowl titles in 1986 and 90. Friday on ESPN at 10:30 Eastern Time. For more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network. Go.com. Mike Munoz is coming on in relief of Aaron Sele. We'll be right back. Sunday night baseball from Texas. It's the top of the 6th inning. The Rangers 6, the Angels 3. Leadoff man Orlando Palmeiro 0 for 3 in the game. Coming up, Andy Sheets at first base after knocking out Aaron Sele with a single to right. Sele threw 126 pitches while he was in there. And the breaking ball is too low. Sele had thrown 70 pitches through 3 innings. So we knew he was probably not going to be real deep into this game. It's an awful lot of pitches for only the 2nd start of the season as well. Foul ball right past George Hendrick at first. 1 ball, 1 strike to Palmeiro. Velarde would be next.
Randy Johnson did that yesterday, didn't he? 123 pitches or something.
Struck out 15 Atlanta Braves. Only walked 2 of them. Got the first win of the year for Arizona. And it would have reminded a lot of people of that guy, I guess, last night. Here's Nolan Ryan, the greatest pitcher in the histories of both of these ball clubs, the Angels and the Rangers. Well, that is a base hit in this very quick infield for Palmeiro. And neither Zeal nor Shave could quite get to it.
John, they have a statue outside of Nolan Ryan, and he was elected to the Hall of Fame this year. What are they going to do now? Put him on a horse?
I mean, if you get the statue before the hall.
Yeah, he got the statue
now
before.
What? Yeah.
Now what?
I'll have to ponder that one. Another pitching change. Tim Crabtree is going to come in to face Velarde. We'll be right back Sunday Night Baseball presented by Gum Out. There's the view from the Gum Out aerial cam high over the ballpark at Arlington. Rangers 6, the Angels 3. And the Angels have the possible tying run of the game at the plate right now in the person of Randy Velarde. First ball swinging against Tim Crabtree. So much for that. Zeal tags the bag. It'll be Greer, Juan Gonzalez, Rafael Palmeiro. The sluggers coming up for Texas.
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Gum Out. Drive your fuel system clean with a complete line of Gum Out Performance Fuel Additives. And in part by Microsoft Web TV Service. Web TV. Watch what's possible.
Here we go to the last of the 6th inning. Texas coming up with Rusty Greer against Alan Levine. And it is ball 1. Greer, the third place hitter, then Juan Gonzalez and Rafael Palmeiro. Texas leading 6-3. The Rangers with 12 hits, no home runs. And I mean, it's rather amazing. The Rangers have had 16 at-bats as a team already with runners in scoring position in this game. I mean, they've had men all over the base paths. They've had 12 hits. They've received 3 walks. There's been an error. So what's that? 16 men on base in 5 innings. So Texas, you'll have to forgive them if they have to feel like they haven't done all that well.
Yeah, this game could be a lot worse than a 3-run lead.
The Rangers on many a night with that many base runners in 5 innings would have 10 or 12 runs on the board by now.
Well, as you mentioned, the real thing is they haven't hit any big flies.
That one is big in distance, but as Casey Stengel used to say, lacking in accuracy. 3-2 the count. Greer 1 for 2. And a sacrifice fly. Fans getting on Orlando Palmeiro on that one, but he caught it.
Let's take a look at Juan Gonzalez and Rafael Palmeiro on bat track. Now watch how far his hands have to go from there to there. That's called, you know, kind of a long swing, but he gets the barrel there quick enough. Look at that. See, he has to start way up top, and then he gets it there. That's kind of a long swing. Rafael Palmeiro has a shorter swing, but it really doesn't matter as long as you get the bat there in time, and Juan Gonzalez does get it there in time.
So what, he's got to be real quick to do that.
Well, it's like a lot of guys talk about a hitch. They say, well, if you drop your hands, and that's a hitch. Well, it's okay to do anything as long as you get the bat back up and into the hitting zone when the ball gets there.
Center field, Garrett Anderson. And Gonzalez is 2 for 4.
Let's take a look at Rafael Palmeiro's swing. Let me show something. See, he starts with his hands here. His swing will be a lot shorter than Juan Gonzalez. See where his hands start? Boom, right there. He has a lot shorter swing than Juan Gonzalez, and it takes him less time to get to the hitting zone.
I mean, his swing seems almost perfect, doesn't it?
Was very smooth.
Down the left field line. Palmeiro. Orlando chasing the ball hit by Palmeiro. Rafael, but a foul ball. 0-1.
You know what it reminds me of, and that's true, is it looks like a golfer swing. A good golfer has that rhythmic swing, very smooth, and that's what his swing looks like. It's kind of smooth. You don't see him jerking, or, you know, his head doesn't move. He's just very smooth swing.
I mean, he is so fluid, so smooth. There's so little other movement.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't think of him as a power hitter. I mean, you don't see him swing at a pitch so hard that he falls over.
Right. Or loses his balance completely.
1 ball, 1 strike to Rafael Palmeiro. Palmeiro, born in Cuba. And he was against the sojourn to Cuba. The Baltimore Orioles, and had he still been an Oriole, he said he would not have gone. Back to Levine. Nice pickup. And that is the inning. Levine has gone 3 innings, allowing just 1 unearned run. Erstad coming up, 6-3 Texas. Sunday Night Baseball from Arlington, Texas. 6-3. The Rangers lead the Angels. Last of the The first half of the 7th, I beg your pardon. Tim Crabtree to Darren Erstad. The power's up for the Angels. Of course, what there is of it right now is Darren Erstad stands in. They're without Mo Vaughn, without Jim Edmonds, 2 of their biggest sluggers. Erstad has walked, struck out, and grounded out. Facing Crabtree for the first time. 2-0 the count. On deck, Tim Salmon, and then Garrett Anderson. Troy Glaus, who's had a double and a homer tonight, due up 4th in the inning. Here's Salmon awaiting his turn on deck. That's right in there for a strike. 2-1.
John, you mentioned our trip to Cuba. Well, remember they were playing their world version of the World Series there, and Industriales won the first 2 ball games. Well, guess what? Santiago won the series. They came back and won the series.
I was kind of surprised by that.
Yeah. After being down 2 games to none.
Especially the way they lost that second game the night before we were there for the Baltimore versus Cuba game. 1 away. Erstad is gone. Well, Johnny Oates has been able to depend on Aaron Sele. His second start tonight. He's pitched well, but those are the only outings that he has had from a starting pitcher that have been successful. I mean, the other starters have just been horrible. And that's 4 other games. And he has not had a well-pitched game yet from anybody but Sele. In fact, his 20-game winner from a year ago, Rick Helling, who got lit up here last night, is Mike Morgan, who's worked hard out of the bullpen this first week. He's pitched 7 innings in relief already. After 5 games, he had 7 innings of relief. Rick Helling gave up 13 runs and 16 hits in his first 6 2/3 innings, and that's over 2 starts. So they're really counting on Helling to rebound. Tim Salmon, 1 ball and 2 strikes to count to him. And that's the question about Texas anyway. I mean, those were their big 2 starters last year. Sele and Helling won 39 games between them. And then after that, it was an adventure. Crabtree, the 3rd Rangers pitcher of the game. 2-2. This was a lot harder than Aaron Sele, but Aaron Sele had 10 strikeouts tonight in 5 2/3 innings. Real hard at Zeal. On number 2. Six to 3 Texas in the 7th. Here's the gum out in-game box score for the Anaheim Angels, and you see up there at the top Palmeiro and Velarde, and then Troy Glaus, a double and a homer. He has scored 2 of the 3 Angels runs, but they have only 6 hits all told. And the big guys, Erstad, Salmon, and Garrett Anderson, the 3, 4, 5 hitters, have been shut out. Garrett Anderson has struck out twice and walked.
That shows you how smart Ivan Rodriguez is. They struck him out with a fastball inside last time. Starts him with a fastball away this time.
In the dirt. 1 ball, 1 strike. And Dusty Baker has said, Joe, if that happened to him, he'd come up the next at bat looking for a ball away.
Well, see, most hitters are just the opposite. If they buzz you inside and get you out that way, you think, well, they may try it again. And if they pitch you inside and you're a good hitter, you want to make them pay for it.
That's out of play.
Well, see,
you're probably right. Dusty probably said just the opposite.
Oh, okay. I'm going to say, but Dusty was around Hank Aaron a long time. He might have different theories, and they were a lot smarter, you know.
Well, he has a great story about Johnny Bench and how Johnny Bench could get inside the head of a hitter.
Yeah.
Said he hit a home run against Tom Seaver on an inside pitch. So the next time he said he's looking for the ball away because he knows Seaver didn't want to come in there again. First pitch, fastball in the inside corner.
Yeah.
So now he's all messed up.
Well, that happens. But see, Seaver and Bench together, obviously, they're very smart anyway, and that was 2 against 1. He didn't have a chance.
Well, he did hit the home run the previous at bat.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
They weren't thinking then.
Strike 3. That's 3 strikeouts of Garrett Anderson tonight. Middle of the 7th, 6-3 Rangers. Sunday night baseball. Next Sunday, we'll see the Angels again, but they take on Ken Griffey Jr. and the Seattle Mariners from Edison Field in Anaheim. Here is Ivan Rodriguez against Alan Levine. Rodriguez is fly to center, single, and he reached on a drop fly ball. Bullpen activity for the Angels as Levine starts his 4th inning of work. He has calmed things down considerably. Tim Belcher, the starter, went 3 innings plus, gave up 5 runs and 11 hits. And Levine has pitched 3 innings, giving up 1 unearned run on 1 hit. That is foul, third base side. Tim Belcher, by the way, the new Angel acquisition, 2 starts this week, 7 and a third innings, 10 runs allowed. A rough first week for him as well, a 12.28 ERA. There's Scott Schoenweiss, left-hander up in the bullpen again, from Duke University, a former Blue Devil. Although, as they say, once a Blue Devil, always a Blue Devil. A Blue Devil and an Angel at the same time. Long throw coming up by Sheets. Wow. Showed a real strong arm on that one from shallow left field.
Let's take a look at that. Nice play there by Sheets. And Rodriguez gets out of the box very well this time. And watch, he does this, probably backhands it, sets himself, and strings a little rope across that infield. Nice throw. Good strong arm there.
1 down, Todd Zeal. Zeal's had a couple of hits, a double, an RBI single, and he is grounded out. 6-3 Texas. The Rangers jumped right out, had 3 runs on the board by the time their 5th hitter had completed his at bat. They got 2 more runs in the 3rd inning, and then a gift run in the 5th after the drop fly ball by Orlando Palmeiro. The Angels with runs in the 2nd, 3rd, and 6th. The one in the 6th on a home run by Troy Glaus. The Angels won the first 2 games of this series, and you know, you can't ever say a game is big in the first week of the season, but these are 2 teams that may be battling all the way until October for the division title, and they're only going to play each other 12 times, and 4 of them are this weekend. So those are big games.
Well, John, I think all the games are big because the more games you win in April, the less you have to win in September. I mean, everybody says, well, the races down the stretch are big games and all the games are big, but if you could win 99 games before you get to September, you're still going to be in pretty good shape if you lose the rest of them.
And that reminds me, Joe, of the gum out in-game box score for the Rangers. Because you're not going to win the game in April unless you get a bunch of guys with a bunch of hits and put some runs on the board.
Right.
Lee Stevens, the hitter. And I tell you, the Rangers have had a lot of hits tonight by a lot of different guys. And this proves it. Look at that. The only guy without a hit is Lee Stevens. Sorry, Lee. Nothing personal. 12 hits. But rarely do the Rangers get so little out of so many hits. I mean, 12 hits, but just the 6 runs. They had 11 of those hits by the first 2 hitters of the 4th inning. But no big flies tonight. Luis Sele talking to Rafael Palmeiro about that. Levine. Well, he has pitched 4 innings now, giving up just the 1 unearned run. 8th inning coming up. Troy Glaus, already a double and a homer. He's coming up. Angels 3 as we move to the 8th inning in Arlington, Texas, and we're happy to have the gum out aerial cam with us tonight. Running the scenic views of the ballpark in Arlington. Troy Glaus, the hitter, right down there at home plate. Careful. He's not just flying right down into the ballpark, is he? I mean, I told you to talk to this guy before the game, what he could do and couldn't do, Joe. Come on now. Glaus in the right field, going back. Here's Gonzalez. McGuire's got a little pop, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. Because he was a little late on that one. He was probably looking for some other pitch. And he was late on it, but you could see that he still had some pop. That ball jumped off his bat just a little late.
Now Chris Pritchett will come up. Pritchett safe on an error by John Shave in the second. Grounded out to third in the fourth. Struck out in the sixth. Another UCLA guy. Just as was Troy Glaus. Tim Crabtree, Ranger reliever. This guy got a real good arm. He's retired 5 straight hitters since coming on. That one's right there. 1 ball, 1 strike. Crabtree, who makes his offseason home now in Colleyville, Texas. Went to Michigan State University, majored in criminal justice. The Detroit Tigers fan, Joe. Favorite players were Kirk Gibson and Lance Parrish. Not Jack Morris or Dan Petrie or those guys, but Gibson and Parrish. Nice play by Shea. 2 down.
Let's take a look at another guy that has a short, quick swing and could hammer the ball. Look at it. Let's see where his hands go from right there into the zone. Pretty short swing. Look at that. Right where you want it. And that is the hammer. When I first came into the league, John, they just called him Bad Henry. Everybody was scared of him. Bad Henry.
Matt Wahlbeck, 2 down, nobody on. 755 home runs. Bad Henry.
Bad Henry. That was it.
You know, I mean, he never hit any 70 a year or 60 or even 50.
Just so consistent over those years.
755 homers. And I don't know, 47, I guess, is the most he ever hit, but he rarely hit less than 40. And he hit 300. And he played a great outfield. And he stole bases.
I think that's the thing that bothers him the most about his career is that he could do everything, yet people only remember him for the home runs. You know, he could hit for a high average. He used to hit the ball to right field. He could steal some bases. He was a fine outfielder. He could throw. He could do everything on a baseball field, but he's only remembered for 755 home runs. Not a bad thing to be remembered for, but, you know, he was a complete player.
Here's ball 4 to Wahlbeck. Well, number 715 was pretty memorable in Atlanta. Kurt Gowdy at the mic.
Oh, there's a long drive. Ball's hit deep, deep. It is gone. He did it. He did it. Henry Aaron.
Well, that was indeed a night to remember, the anniversary of which was just 2 days ago. April the 9th, 1974, 25 years ago. Hank Aaron moved ahead of the Babe Ruth, and there were those who were hoping that he wouldn't.
Right.
And Hank Aaron endured a lot in addition to the battles against the pitchers and the opposing team.
It was interesting, John, that, you know, he says that he's more at peace now than he's ever been. He's more relaxed now, and in my dealings with him, I find him that way. I mean, he is just an unbelievable person. I mean, last year at the Players' Choice Awards, I mean, he was so humble and just treated McGuire, Sosa, and all those guys so nice. It was unbelievable to me that, you know, he could have such humility when you hit 755.
Andy Sheets, the hitter, after Dick Bosman visited with Tim Crabtree. You saw John Wetland up in the bullpen. We also had a shot of Johnny Oates, the Texas manager, which was apropos since we were talking about Hank Aaron, because Johnny Oates was a teammate of Henry Aaron and was out there in the bullpen when that home run landed out there. Todd Zeal, and that ends the inning. The bullpens have taken care of business tonight. We go to the last of the 8th. 6-3 Texas. John Weiss, number 60, 25 years of age, has come on to pitch out of Duke University. An All-American there in his freshman season. Last year was a starting pitcher at Vancouver in AAA ball. He was the North Carolina Collegiate Player of the Year in 1996, Joe, so he hadn't been out of school very long. Scott Schoenweiss. He also, while he was in college, had the Tommy John type surgery. John Shave thrown out by Troy Glaus. So here's one pitch. Dick Bosman went to the mound to talk to Tim Crabtree in the first half of this inning.
Going to do back. Listen, go back to what you were doing. All right, being aggressive early. All right, this guy's a first ball swinger. That don't mean you can't throw him a sinker down, all right? This guy over here ain't going to do much over here at first base. You got to get the hitter right here. Okay.
Let's hit it out. Let's go.
Okay. You can do it. Come on. Nice and aggressive. Trust your stuff.
And this is what happened. One hopper to third.
Well, he threw the sinker down. See, if they'd have followed you, you still have your house. If they just listened to Bosman, you wouldn't have lost your house on that one pitch.
I need to talk to you about always putting my house up in these wagers that you make, because I never hear what you're putting up. Tom, not that I'm not going to pay up. 1 ball, 1 strike, the good one. He started the night with a triple for Texas. Starting a 3-run first inning. He's also walked and twice grounded out since then. That's a foul. 2 balls and a strike to Tom Goodwin. Mark McLemore on deck. 6-3, Texas leading after getting a trounced here 2 days in a row by the Angels. The Angels came in here Friday, posted an 8-4 win, and last night they just annihilated the Rangers in their home ballpark, 10-0. And no swing, says Jim Evans.
John Schoenweiss has a very good sinker. And he's got good rotation on the ball on his sinker.
That is strike 3 call. The Goodwin was being very patient. Going to take his walk, and he got called out. 2 down. Friends, this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Mark McLemore been on base 3 times. He's tripled home a run. He's walked, he's singled, and he's fouled out. Doubleheader action on ESPN Wednesday. The Yankees in game 1, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And then the Astros and the Giants in game 2 at 10:30 Eastern time, 7:30 Pacific. And a 1-2-3 inning for Schoenweiss. Play made there by Sheets. Top of the order, Palmeiro, Velarde, and Erstad. Salmon due 4th. Last chance for the Angels.
This is Bill Pito back in the studio. Mark McGwire hit his 2nd homer of the year today, but the Reds beat the Cards by the score of 4-2. McGwire in the game went 2 for 4, now hitting an even .300 for the year. Meanwhile, Sammy Sosa hit his 1st homer of the year today in Chicago's 9-6 loss to Pittsburgh. Sosa hit his 1st homer last year in Game 5. Today was Game 6. For all the day's developments, including complete coverage of the Masters, watch SportsCenter right after the game.
All right, Bill, and meanwhile here in Arlington, here's the American General game summary. 6 runs, 12 hits for Texas, 3 runs, 6 hits for Anaheim. The Angels 0 for 8 with men in scoring position. That's where you say, man, they really miss Mo Vaughn and Jim Edmonds on a night like tonight. Tim Belcher, the early hook. Aaron Sele, meanwhile, threw a lot of pitches, but very effectively only 1 earned run, 10 strikeouts in 5 2/3. And now the veteran closer, John Wetland, comes on to try and close it. That's what he gets paid for. Wetland got his 1st save of the season Wednesday, going an inning into 3rd scorelessly. Inherited a couple of runners in the 8th inning of that game Wednesday against Detroit and stranded him. It didn't look like he was going to be ready for the start of the season there for a long while. He had ankle problems and then some back problems. But here he is. Only made 4 appearances in Grapefruit League games in spring training because of the ankle problems. And in the middle of the month when he tried to pitch through it, he gave up 11 earned runs in a couple of one-inning outings. Very un-Wetland-like. John Wetland, one of the top closers in the game, and Johnny Oates really tries to use Wetland. 9th inning only. I mean, I say that, and he brought him into the 8th inning the last time, but likes to let him start an inning and put it away. Kind of a security blanket for any manager to have a guy like this. You're leading in the 9th, give it to this guy, game's over. Back out of play. Wetland last year had 42 saves for Texas, Joe, and only had to pitch 62 innings to get him. '63 appearances, 62 innings pitched. And Trevor Hoffman pitched more than that. Rob Nett in San Francisco pitched a lot more than that. Mark McLemore. That is one away. Right after the ball game, Sports Center. Stay tuned for that. Everything that went on in the world of sports today. And then after Sports Center, baseball tonight. And tomorrow night at 10 Eastern and midnight Eastern, baseball tonight. 2 baseball tonights most nights, but not tonight, because tonight there's one thing, Joe, from now until the end, and that's Sunday night baseball.
Gotcha.
Monday, 2 sports centers. No, 2 baseball tonights, 1 sports center. Actually, 2 sports centers. There's lots of sports centers, let me tell you. But 2 baseball tonights, I know that. All right. I hope we've cleared that up for you.
Yeah.
Randy Velarde. Two balls and a strike to Velarde. He's been a hot hitter lately and has had a single and a triple tonight. But he chased the high heat there. Came into this game hitting .429. After the game, they were asking him yesterday about his hot bat. He said, well, I'm trying to take advantage of it while I'm hot, because in this, you know the way this game is. He said, you can rent it, but you can't own it.
A smart hitter. He knows you can't hit for 162 ball games.
2-2. He struck him out. I mean, he just blew him away.
It's one reason I'd like for him to call the high strike a little bit more. I like to see that challenge. Throw that high fastball and see if the guy can catch up with it.
2 down. Here's Darren Erstad. Erstad 0 for 3 in this game with a walk. He'd like to keep the game going. Tim Salmon trying to do some damage. Salmon would be next. There's ball 1. Aaron Sele. The second strong outing as a starter for the Rangers this week. And they really needed him tonight to be strong after their starters have just been getting shelled all week long, including this weekend against this division rival. And Sele rose to the occasion. 10 strikeouts and 5 2/3. It was only 5 2/3. He threw 126 pitches to get there. But then Tim Crabtree, 2 1/3 scoreless innings. Great job out of the pen. Breaking ball a little bit high. 2-1. That looked like one of those pitches that if Erstad had swung at it, he might have hit it 450 feet.
That's one of Willie Stargell's pet peeves.
Oh, now that was a good one. Came right back with another breaker, and this one was a beauty.
And Willie Stargell says that guys nowadays take that high hanger. It's easy to hit.
Fans right to their feet at the ballpark in Arlington. The Rangers 1 strike away from their first win here in this weekend series with Anaheim. 2-2 the count. And foul. He went up after that one. Hung another one up there. 2-2. Next Sunday, We'll be in Anaheim. These same Angels against the Seattle Mariners. Ken Griffey Jr. and company. And Jim Edmonds could be back in midweek, so we might see him in the lineup next Sunday. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. 2-2 the count. And it is too low, so it's a full countdown. 3-2. 6-3. Texas ahead in the 9th inning. 2 down, nobody on. Here it is. And he walked it. So Wetland loses Erstad. The game continues. Now Tim Salmon. Now Salmon cannot tie the game. He's got to get on base here. And then Garrett Anderson would get a shot at it. Tim Salmon, the highest batting average in this ballpark of any player. But tonight he is 0 for 3 with a walk. Has not hit the ball out of the infield. Grounded out twice, struck out once. Erstad at first. A strike, and it's 0-1. Runner going, and the sharp curveball swung on and missed. Strike 2 with Erstad going to second. They were not holding him, so he just went ahead and took second base. I don't believe they'll give him credit for a steal.
Fielder's indifference, they call it.
Now Ivan Rodriguez out to speak to Wetland. Now it's 2 strikes. He's made him look bad on 2 pitches. What are they talking about? Come on, Joe. Give me something.
That's a good point.
Tell me anything.
Well, he wants to know if he wants to waste one or he wants to go right after it.
All right. Well, that's a good one.
Yeah. I think he'll waste the high fastball. No.
That's deep into left center. Goodwin has room out there and on the run. The ball game is over. Salmon hit it back toward the deepest part of the ballpark. Should have wasted one. So the Rangers have won it 6-3. And the series will end tomorrow. And they are trailing 2-1 here to division rival, the Anaheim Angels. Stay tuned now. Sports Center coming up next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Part of the Go Network, go.com. John Miller for Joe Morgan from Texas. Good night.